All right, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing show of Real Estate Uncensored. This is our Real Estate Uncensored show. We do it on Wednesdays. It is going to be our marketing roundtable. We have Mr. Gene Volpe. We have Mr. Jake Wolf. And we have our new co-host, Mr. Nick Sakis.
Nick.
Coming out.
Would he be the co-host?
Yeah, he's the co-host.
Yeah,
which is actually kind of funny because I live in a county called Cocoa County, which is kind of interesting. But Gene, how are you, my friend? You look bald as ever. I love you, and I love the beard.
Doing great. I love how you always take those passive-aggressive shots at me, especially when I haven't shaved in literally 4 days. I think it's amazing. I love you, too. That was passive-aggressive as well. Listen, you didn't do the countdown again today. What are we doing here?
Oh my God!
Don't do it. No, don't do it now. It's too late. We're in hot now. We're coming in hot. We got a lot to cover.
You can't do it. Do it in the show. Here we go, guys.
Says count her down.
Now we've met our co-host. Here's the countdown.
So you better get your shit together if we're going to keep doing this.
I'm going to beat your ass. I'm
not going to beat nothing. God. Listen, just because you're bigger than me don't mean I can't chop you down at the knees, son.
I will find you and hunt you down like the dog that you are. But for the rest of you guys, what I want to do is I want to invite you guys. We have 12 seconds left. You guys get your notepads out, your pens out. Let's rock and roll. We have 5 seconds left for knowledge bombs to be dropped. All right, motherfucker. There's your goddamn countdown.
I love how we come back and he's taking notes again. He should be taking notes because I'm about to drop some shit. Don't you threaten me over internet, sir.
Get notepad, take notes.
Jake is a studious student, and he is diligently taking notes. Nick is laughing his ass off, going, "What the fuck did I just get myself into?
What did I sign up for? What did I sign up for?"
Yeah, this is only fitting at the end of 2020, right? That all of the 2020 bottlenecks down into Gino and Greg McD going for blows, and Sergeant Wolf having to referee this thing.
Oh my God, guys! Welcome back to another amazing show. You guys obviously know Gene. You obviously know Jake. Two of my very dear good friends, life brothers forever. Marketing roundtable of the Knights. We have a new knight that's going to be joining the roundtable, Mr. Nick Sakis. Nick, you've been a veteran of the show. I believe you're a victim of 2 to 3 times on the show. Now you're going to be a co-host on our Wednesday show at the Marketing Roundtable. Let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and just how sexy you are, and what you've been doing with your life.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm super pumped about this Wednesday show. Like, we've been talking about this for a while, right? Me and Greg have been rapping about this for almost over a year. I'm glad to see it come to fruition. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Sakis. I have been on the show, I think 4 or 5 times, talking about all things marketing and real estate. I do have my real estate license in the Tampa, Florida area. However, 99% of my business these days is real estate marketing. Helping agents basically close more deals and scale to any amounts that they want to, right? Go to guys like Gene Volpe for content. You go to guys like Jake for all the tools that you need. People usually come to me when they want some more leverage. They want some booked appointments and take some things off their plate and help them go from maybe, say, $10 million to 30, 40, $50 million a year.
Yes.
As far as my own personal life, I have gone through a little bit of a weight loss transformation the past 6 months. I'm down 120 pounds in 6 months. Thank you very much. I'm the shrinking man, becoming a little bit of a bobblehead, as we were talking about in pre-show. But I'm super pumped to be on the show. I love this. I love marketing. I talk to all these guys on a regular basis anyway offline, so we might as well put it online and drop some value bombs.
It's on the line, Nick. Remember,
on the
line. Yes.
I love this, and I'm so proud of you personally, Nick. You're an inspiration to me, and you've done such an amazing job with just personal dedication to what you're doing. And I want to kind of focus a little bit on that and about that on today's show, talking about personal dedication, personal just truth seeking, because you started this about a year ago, give or take a couple of months, and you've lost 120 pounds, which is outstanding. All of you guys are listening. If you don't see him, go look him up. He's a beautiful, handsome man. But it takes dedication, takes hard work. Now, 2020 has been a fucking shit show, dumpster fire, asshole burning, event. And we're stepping into 2021. Nick, I want to walk through really quickly with you when you first started doing your transformation, and this is going to go back down to business. What was that driving force? Because everyone has that driving force that's going to push them into that next phase of life. And then Gene and Jake, I want you guys to jump in on this as well. But Nick, walk me through kind of what was that catalyst to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't want to be this big guy anymore. I want to go back down to my high school weight, fit in my size 2 jeans, and live a good life. So, what does that look like? How did you get that desire?
Yeah, man. So, long story short, let's make it real short. I've been up and down. When Greg says my high school weight, I was 270 pounds when I graduated high school, but I was a 2-sport athlete. I tore my ACL. Like that's a whole nother. Still wearing my Letterman's jacket, talking about the glory days kind of thing. I'm that guy. 2 knee surgeries, but at 270 pounds, I was still athletic, right? I was bench pressing almost 400. I could run 5 miles. So when I stopped playing sports and got into my early 20s and got into business, you've heard the story before. You stop working out like you did, you eat the same amount, and you end up blowing up. So over the course of 20 years from high school, I gradually started putting on more and more weight to where I was 200 pounds heavier than I was when I graduated. So the way that I came about this is kind of, I had an aha moment. So I was at a gas station, and because I'm a marketing guy, this really kind of clicked with me. I was at a gas station and I had just eaten lunch. I still had a McDonald's cup in my car. I had a full stomach. Back then I used to eat 2 value meals at a time, right? And I would justify it by basically going, because I was in the car all day. So I needed 2 drinks. And so I needed 2 drinks. That means I needed 2 fries and 2 burgers. Anyway, so I'm sitting there pumping gas and I'm looking at this sign. And the sign is for buy 1, get 1 free cigarettes. And I'm having like this internal dialogue in my mind about how disgusting smoking cigarettes is. And I'm so glad I don't have that habit. And it'd be so expensive every month if I was to smoke cigarettes. And on the other side of the sign was a buy a drink and get a hot dog free inside the gas station. I've never eaten a fucking gas station hot dog in my life. I had a completely full stomach from just eating McDonald's, and my mouth watered for a fucking gas station hot dog. And that second, a light bulb just clicked in my head, and I said, oh, I get it. When someone looks at this sign for cigarettes, their mouth waters. They have a problem. They have an addiction. I'm not hungry. I saw a gas station hot dog for free and my mouth watered. I have a problem. I have an addiction. So it transcended everything from that point on to where I have an addiction to food and I need to get a handle on that and not look at this as a diet. I need to change my relationship with food. And that's when it all started 6 months ago. And since then, I made the joke this past week on my profile that I cheated on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. But there's been 3 days where I haven't been on my program since 6 months. And it's not for lacking or wanting. I've completely changed my relationship with food, and I realize that it's an addiction. And that's how I've been going about this.
So Gene and Jake, I want you guys to take it away at this point. When it comes to an addiction, I think a lot of people have addictions, but in Nick's case, it's food. Some people have alcohol, some people have smoking, some people have drugs, some people have work, some people have a lot of, fill in the blanks. When you guys identify something like that, how can you look at someone and go, okay, you may or may not have an addiction to this, but if you do, how can I help you do it? Or if you need to get addicted to it because you have a lack of work ethic, where would you go from that? Jake, I'm going to go with you first.
I knew you would call on me. I just had I was hoping Gene was going to take this one off the cuff. All right, I got to tee Gene up for this one. All right, so addiction. Stop it. Okay, Gene, your turn.
Nicely done. Listen, there's no bullshit with him. Just put your big girl panties on.
Yeah,
right, that's what he's saying to you, and just get over it. I have a unique relationship with addiction. I pick and choose what I get addicted to.
Like me.
Yeah, so I'm not addicted to you for obvious reasons. You're a pain in the ass and a drain on me. No, I'm kidding. I'm only kidding. No, listen, I got nothing for this one. I think this is a very personal experience. I think it has a lot more to do. It has a lot to do with mental. ability, but I think it also has to do with your chemical makeup as well. I mean, there's, certain people can be addicted to alcohol and not food. Why is that? There's something about the alcohol that calls them, right? I think there's something about food that calls people. I think it's a very personal matter. And I also believe that there's some psychology that can be involved too, that maybe something programmed you a specific way earlier in your years that drove you in that direction moving, later in life. So sometimes it's one of those things where if the addiction's bad enough, right? Like if I'm addicted to Hubba Bubba, that's not really that big of a deal. If you're addicted to methamphetamine, it might be time to go talk to somebody that can help you with that psychological, backdrop, the things that have happened, maybe to work yourself out of that. So I think it's really a personal matter, and I don't necessarily think it's a one size fits all thing. And I think you got to be real in tune with that. Like, that's kind of where I'll leave it, I guess.
Okay, now I want to add something.
So, go ahead.
All right. So I know everybody's struggling with something or has struggled with something at some point in their life, right? And I would say congratulations to you guys finding and focusing your time, attention towards overcoming and adapting and being the best you possibly can. I would say, word of caution, be cautious for those silent addictions that creep up on you over time. So always be aware of your surroundings and focus on yourself. The better you are, the better you will be for all of the folks that depend on you. So
I agree 100%. And I'll admit something, to everybody. And I'm not ashamed to say this. I've said this 1,000 times. Look, I've quit 2 addictions in my life in one drop of a hat. I quit smoking. I smoked for 20 years. And yes, Nick, is a disgusting fucking habit, and I smell horrible, and it just destroys everything. And
for the record, I'd like to say that you smell horrible, not because of the smoking.
Motherfucker, you never met me in person. How the fuck are you gonna know?
I could get it right through this Zoom call.
Yeah, I smell you. I like smelling air.
Nick, thanks for joining me. I didn't know what to do without you before this.
All right, this is serious, motherfuckers. So I quit smoking in one day. I smoked for 20 years, and I had a girlfriend at the time that she told me she didn't know I smoked at the time. She's like, "Oh my god, guys that smoke are so disgusting," and I'm like, "Pink, goodbye cigarettes," and I just dropped it. And I also quit cocaine with one drop of a hat. I had a problem with that. Dude, I OD'd on coke. And I freaked the fuck out, bleeding from the nose, shivering, shaking, the whole fucking 9 yards. And I'm like, okay, I got a serious problem here. Like, Nick, you address the problem that you had an issue with food. That's the same thing I had with cocaine and smoking. And, why do I tell these stories publicly? Well, because I'm human. I go through struggles. I have issues. And I talk about these things on an open platform because maybe my story can help somebody else. Like Nick, your story is an inspiration to me personally because I see what you're doing and the steps you're taking. And I want to kind of divert this a little bit back to real estate on the heartbeat and just say, for all of us that, my boy James Colburn has the book called Re-Succeed. Great book, phenomenal book. And he had an addiction to work. Like he had a pressed white shirt in the trunk of his car, ready to roll, ready to put on that jacket and go list a property at a drop of a hat. And he realized that wasn't healthy. So as we step out of 2020, and it's been a fucking dumpster fire shit show of a year, what would you guys recommend? Nick, I'm going to go with you first in regards to, how to step away from, the kind of what we're thinking about and what we're talking about and everything else, and just step into the best possible version of yourself. And how did you do that? What was that shift, man? Because so many people are looking for that. I mean, they crave this like nobody's business.
Yeah, man. I am a 100%. I was 100% believer before 6 months ago because I was always into personal development, and you only can grow your business as much as you grow yourself individually, right? So I was always that way before. Now it's like accelerated to the 100th degree. And the things that are happening in my business as a direct reflection of having a clearer mind because of the health of my body and the process that I'm taking to get healthy is I want to help as many people do that as possible.
Right.
And so if 2020 was tough for you, and 6 months ago, I was the guy that thought I knew everything, that I didn't necessarily like health wasn't necessarily a part of being in business, or it didn't affect my business. But falling asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you don't sleep because you have sleep apnea because your neck is gigantic, and that's a problem. You lose precious amount of time that you can work and expand your business. So for me, I'm all in on the health kick, on getting yourself in shape, both mentally and physically for 2021. But to the point of this show, what we were talking about before is following a proven system to get you to the next level, right? So I'm 100% about hiring mentors or being in the following proven success from other people, right? So I've done something that few people have done, losing 120 pounds. I'm happy to help anybody, but like we were talking with Jake, put a system in place for 2021. What are other people doing? What is your competition doing that they did this year that they had success? How can you model that for your business and crush it in 2021?
Love it. Jake, systems. You and Gene are systems like geniuses. For people that may or may not be able to, by the way, I'm micro famous with Matt Johnson on my chest.
Matt's on your heart. Isn't that sweet?
He is. Jake, in regards to kind of putting systems into place for 2021, if people have a no budget or a low budget, what is something, and then Gene, I'm going to jump over to you. I want you to dovetail on this. What is something that they can do? Because and the reason why I want to keep harping on this is that Nick seriously is an inspiration because he's doing things that nobody else has done that I've ever seen. So how can people take this, put this into business and just crush 2021 like it's their bitch?
Well, so what I hate hearing is business and no budget or low budget all in the same kind of paragraph. Okay?
True.
When we hear business, ladies and gentlemen, you have to go ahead and step back and put yourself in that responsibility chair of being that businessman or woman, period. Mm-hmm. So New Year's, here we are. Everybody's making resolutions. They're talking about what happened in 2020, their goals, and putting their stamp on 2021. But if you're going to stay in business, this is a perfect time to not only just reflect personally, but also professionally. So a couple of big takeaways when you're doing that. Please, ladies and gentlemen, find some quiet time here over this next 4 days and sit down and have a meeting with yourself. Reflect backwards, plan forward. All right. Some of the big things that you should be thinking about that we as businessmen and marketers think about is what is the image that you have that's being represented to the local marketplace? How do your prospective customers view you? And how do they view your competitors? Just like Nick was saying. So the pre-show, we were talking about how competition analysis is so important. Now, here's a really easy thing, tactical, easy thing from the Marketing Roundtable that you can do today to go ahead and arm yourself with this perspective. So you think about all of the keywords that somebody might be thinking about when they're looking for a realtor to go ahead and buy or sell a home. So go to Google, type in these things, just be creative, and then see what's coming up. You're going to go ahead and see your competition that's popping up or indexed high. You're going to be able to go into their website, see what they're talking about, how they're representing themselves. You're going to also see social pages indexed on Facebook. Go in, identify your competitors that are on organic Google search terminology that your prospective customers are searching for. So you're going to be able to gauge your level of true grit coming into 2021 as you're taking a look at your competitors and see what you need to do to go ahead and put some fuel to the fire there. So that's the resolution that I urge everybody to do from a business standpoint. As far as budget, ladies and gentlemen, and just like yesterday, Greg and I were on with James, the Zillow killer, over in our private group, and we were talking about it's tough to do any business without a little bit of juice behind it, right? You have to go ahead and allocate some financial resources because that's the fuel in your tank for the trip that's necessary to get to your goal. And then you just have to focus those financial resources and get them into a position to where it's self-liquidating. Always.
So, Gene, in regards to those comments, and I love where Jake's coming from on this one, and the analogy Jake always uses, and I love it, is, if you're going to go on a trip, you're not going to go on a trip with a zero, gas in your car gas tank. You have to have some fuel in the gas tank to go somewhere. So that's the same thing for a budget. So, Gene, dovetail and kind of give your opinions on kind of what Jake was saying here.
I don't run by the same code as Jake does. I happen to be able to run 100% of my business on my good looks alone. So I don't necessarily need a budget like the other guys on this.
Hey, shut up.
I really do think that if you look, research dictates that I think 15 percentage, 10 to 12, 15%, depending on who you talk to, of your profit should go back into marketing directly. I always say that if you pay attention to the big dogs, like when things get tight, when COVID came, you probably noticed a couple of things if you paid attention. And that is that 90% of the people that you saw advertising went away into nothing, and 10% tripled down on their advertising budget.
Right.
It's not cheaper. It gets more expensive. The folks that do, like, think about the Super Bowl commercial. When you see the Super Bowl commercial, you might think to yourself, these are companies that don't need any more marketing. They're already making enough money to be able to advertise $5 million for a 30-second commercial. You got it backwards. That's exactly why they're doing it, because they're continuously spending and being diligent about taking money from their bottom line and putting it back into creating a bigger bottom line. So I think it's one of those things where we talk to a lot of real estate agents in this show. And I know a lot of real estate agents that are just starting. That sounds grandiose in what I said, and something for maybe that's their 2023 goal, right? Because I don't have a huge budget. So what am I supposed to do? Well, I consider your sweat equity also part of a budget for marketing. You really got to get out there in front of the social space in order to create some. But that first commission check that comes in, you need to take a good portion of that and roll that into something like a Clever Leads or what Sackus is doing in order to get 4 more commission checks, and then so on and so forth. Don't slight your budget, increase it.
Yeah, 100%. Nick, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, Jake said 2 very important things. The first one, he said, have a meeting with yourself. And I do that all the time, right? Maybe with a tube sock or a box of tissues, but either way, you gotta know yourself before you can go any farther in life, right? But
the camera was on earlier, bro. I'm sorry to tell you this.
I love the one thing he said that was really quick that probably not a lot of people caught is the self-liquidating aspect, and having that mindset of, hey, marketing is not a cost. It should not. One of the first things I say to people is, if I'm ever an expense to your business, you should fire me. Right? Marketing should never be looked at as an expense. You should look at it as, I would have never gotten this deal. But that's where also accountability comes in, and actually tracking and knowing for certain that these dollars went to this thing and amounted to this. So a lot of times what happens is an agent will spend $1,000, for a couple of different campaigns, and then they get a couple of deals and then they stop doing it. It's this big cycle of bullshit where they stop and start. And they never really look at it in terms of, I would have never gotten this deal if I didn't do this marketing. It's always, I got this deal and it's only because of this thing, and I don't need to necessarily do marketing again.
Right.
We need to take a different approach and look at it in terms of, you got to have gas in your tank at all times, like Jake said. If you're going to be driving around, if you're going to be doing your thing, you got to have gas in your tank. So you got to sit down and reverse engineer, figure out how much money can I spend to accelerate, because that's all we're doing, right? We're accelerating your process, your progress, if you will, right? You can probably sell 20 houses if you want to, just from grinding, but you might be able to sell 30 or 35 if you put a little bit of ad spend, a little bit of thought behind it, and plan out your year.
So we were on with James Zilla Killer yesterday, like Jake was talking about. And one of the things that I wrote down that really, really, really resonated with me was a comment that he made. And it was this. It's very simple, but it's very powerful. It goes to what Nick, Gene, and Jake are all saying. And it says, declare what you want with action. It's just, declaring or deciding, whatever word you want to use. And then do it with action. The greatest revenge is, being more successful than anybody else around you. And it just really comes down to you just doing it. Guys, I'm a college dropout. Okay. I barely got out of fucking high school, and I'm pretty fucking good where I'm standing right now. And guess what? The only thing I did is different from other people is I took action. I did every single day, and I still do every single day. I take action. I make the calls. I do the emails. I do the social media. I do the videos. I do, whatever it's going to take. Excuse me for the burp. My apologies. But I'll tell you one thing is that if every one of you right now listening to my voice or watching me on camera, Gene, stop fucking laughing at me.
You're a hot mess. I love every second of it.
Greg, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Gene laughing at you.
Oh my God.
You guys are.
Excuse me. I love you going to rant. You're like that in the middle of it. I'm sorry. I farted. Excuse me for a second.
I didn't say fart. I said burp. Anyways, what I'm saying is, guys, look, we all are in different spots in life. Look, you may not have made a lot of money this year. You may have made a ton of money. You may have gotten a divorce. You may have gotten married. You may have gotten separated. Your kids may have gone to college. Maybe you had a new kid. Whatever it is, life has shifted. But the one thing is that hasn't shifted is your will and your ability to keep crushing. 2021 is going to be a beautiful year. I mean, Jake and I and Gene and Nick all have amazingly powerful plans. Nick and I are going to do some crazy cool shit. Jake and Gene and I are going to do some crazy cool shit. And it's just depending on what you guys are going to decide to do. And once you make a decision, like I said, decide, and then just take action. It's simple. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be grandiose. It could just be very small. It could be like Nick's doing right now. Nick took his decision to lose 120 some odd pounds. First step was his first step, and then the second step, then a third step, then a fourth step, then a fifth step. That's all you have to do in your business careers. It's really that simple. Gene, in regards to taking different steps in life, and then Jake, I want to have you follow up then with Nick. What would be a first step you would have someone take for 2021? What's a trend that you see that people are kind of going towards? Is it a social media app? Is it just going out there and say hi to people? Kind of where does that land?
I think so. I think I'm going to take us a different route. I could go down a marketing path. I'm not gonna. I'll let Sarge do that if he wants to.
Okay.
I think taking inventory, and I don't want this to come off like this is something I do very well or on a regular basis, because I don't. But I think if you're able to do this, and I think Nick said it a couple minutes ago too, he kind of alluded to this a little bit, but if you take inventory of what you do on a regular daily basis, I think you'll start to see some things pop up that maybe you didn't realize. Like for me, I could tell you one right now. I continuously convince myself that I'm on Facebook because it's part of my job. And it is. But do I really need to spend 6 hours there every day? Or do I really need 45 minutes? And the answer is probably closer to 45 minutes, but yet I get sucked down the rabbit hole. If I watched that for a week, and at the end of the week I went, shit, I spent 26 hours on Facebook this week. Could I get 8 of those back and do something else with it? The answer is almost always yes. I think you get into a rhythm on a regular basis and not realize the bad habits you're creating. And if you take inventory of that first and attack one of them, then I think maybe, just think about that. I could get a full day back by just looking at that and being real diligent about, I'm not going to be on Facebook for 6 hours a day. I'm going to go ahead and do it for 4 hours a day, right? I'm still spending plenty of time, but I'm getting 2 hours a day back over a 4 or 5 day week. That's almost 10 hours. What can I do with 40 hours a month? That's just I think the inventory part of what are you doing on a regular basis. Some things might jump out and be glaring that you didn't realize.
Yeah. Very good points, Jake.
So my tribe, we're talking about being business owners, executives in action. We're not talking about being real estate agents. Selling and buying homes is our product and service. We are really focused on establishing business. And just like yesterday, it goes even right to what James said. If you're not focusing on establishing a business that is strong at the foundation with the right systems and the processes in place and the right people, then you're only as good as the next deal that you're working on at that moment. And James even said, he even tells people, don't preach to me about how you've been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. Tell me about the business that you've created that's sound and established. So I have clever agents that are living in different states, but running businesses across the country. They have people, they have a process, they have marketing. We are putting out advertisements, they're generating leads, and then they are putting them to their team while they are working in a different state completely. Mm-hmm. So that foundation and able to go ahead and run that process is a sentiment and is a direct reflection of the businessman or woman that you absolutely are. So this is the thing. As an executive in action, we need to take a look at all of the things around us that are successful and all of the things around us that are not successful. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to pull off the shelf all of the tools that we need in order to go ahead and create the systems necessary to take actionable steps forward and start getting out there and doing your business. So that's a big thing for us, is focusing on all of these core elements. And that's what we've obviously done a lot of the heavy lifting over on the Clever side of the house, so that we can go ahead and we can go to the library, we can go to the repository, to the armory, and pull off the guns and bullets necessary to go ahead and start pulling triggers. So
love it. Nick.
I think everybody should take a step back and focus on what makes them happy first.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that and is this. It's very simple. Okay. If you focus on what makes you happy, if you're very crystal clear, if you have the focus of this is exactly what makes me happy and this is how I'm going to achieve that happiness, it helps you draw in your why. And then you can make those choices as to how do I accomplish that through systems or business.
Mm-hmm.
All business is just a system. And then all of a sudden you can go from an individual agent running around like a chicken with your head cut off to owning something that works for you and then gives you the ultimate happiness that you want. For me, okay, one of the things that I was very crystal clear on in this journey is spending more time, or the most time I can possibly, with my family. Okay. And with my kids. And if you go to my Facebook profile, you can clearly see that, right? I'm spending as much time with my two boys as possible. And so I reverse engineered, okay, in order for me to spend as much time with them, what do I have to put into place? What do I have to do to accomplish those goals? And when you have that strong why of why you're doing something, it makes everything else infinitely easier. And then at that point, all you have to do is follow a proven system, like what Jake talks about, because that's all business is a system. And if you're an agent at this point, and that's one of the things that's crazy, is you can be a $10 million, 15. I've even talked to some $20 million producers, and their business is a freaking mess because it's not a business. It's just them. And they just happen to be freaking awesome at what they do and talking to people and communicating and getting deals done. But you lift up the hood and you go, oh shit, I don't even know how this car is running. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the biggest shift for me, and this is a lot of conversations I have with people, is what makes you the most happy? How do you accomplish the goals that you want? And what's the real reason why you want to close 20 houses? Why do you want to close 30? Why do you want to do 20 million, 30 million? And then work backwards from there and create that system with those people. It's a game changer.
Dude, it is 100%. I mean, there's been so many stories about people, GCI of like $1 million, right, into their bank account, but then they spend 900,000 on everything else. They're walking out with 100K. The after taxes, they're at $50,000, actual revenue income, and they're miserable. Their hair's falling out. They're gaining weight, they're losing weight, they're whatever the problem is with them. And I look around and I'm like, here's the biggest currency in life. And the one thing that people always, all they want to do, and this is my theory, and I'd love to get your guys' opinions on this, is that people, when they get the big house, the fancy car, you get the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, you buy a boat, you buy a plane, you buy, second house, whatever it is, you're looking for one thing. And that one thing, in my opinion, has been true, is that people are looking for freedom. They want to be free. They want to go live life at zero cost basis. And so, I mean, one thing that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to start on January 1st, I'm actively stepping out of day-to-day production in real estate. And I'm going to step into selling my real estate courses, my training courses with Bernice Ross, and I'm building my EXP downline. And that gives me the ability and my freedom, my happiness to live anywhere I want in the entire world. Well, minus COVID. Fuck you, COVID. But you know what? I can move anywhere I want in the world, and this makes me happy. Do I make $10 a month? Do I make $100,000 a month? But you know what? I have no leash on me anymore. And a lot of people have leashes, and it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be food, it could be work, it could be, whatever it is going to be, and I think a lot of people want to get rid of those leashes. And that sucks for a lot of folks because they don't ever realize that they actually have a leash. And that's the biggest fucking problem. Then they look around, they're 80 years old, sit on the front step on the rocking chair with their spouse or significant other or best friend or whatever else, going, man, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. When in reality, you can just go do whatever you want right now. That's the world of digital marketing. That's why Gene, Jake, and Nick are here.
And I want to share with you my happiness and systems.
Oh man, I'm so glad you're going to put me in there. Thank you, brother.
You're in there. You're in my contacts. Pizza makes me happy. And Domino's has this incredible app that allows me to order my pizza in a really seamless process.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets here and I can actually track the people making it and when it's in the car and when it's at my front door.
Mm-hmm.
So that process is something that I utilize on a regular basis that makes me happy. Does that count?
It does count, but that's actually something that we can dovetail in. And Jake and Nick, I want you to jump in on this. When it comes to Gene, you said something very, very important right there. What you just said is that you make a process seamless, right? It was no effort for you. A lot of people go through a lot of effort when it comes to marketing for new real estate clients, handling the real estate clients and then following up with the real estate clients. And the clients understand that it's painful. But Jake, when it comes to taking, the problem out of that whole follow-up system and making it seamless, walk me through that a little bit.
Well, that's life, right? So when you start a journey, you have to analyze every single step of the way in business and in life. And if there's barriers or restriction, there's generally something that's wrong. So you always have to go ahead and modify, overcome and adapt so that you can go ahead and get to that next step of restriction to make it more seamless, so on and so forth, right? Look, I'm blessed and unstoppable in the way that I think, and that's how my heart beats. And when you talk about the journey of life, I'm a combat veteran. So I served in Afghanistan after 9/11. People have different goals and aspirations about what fulfills them. But there's core foundational needs of wealth for your family, or if you're building a family, or if you're building a business, there's necessity, there's needs that have to be structured and woven in to this thing. I mean, look around us. Most people live in the city. You can't even flush the toilet because without it costing money. It costs money to fill up that water, right? Or even if you're in the countryside, electricity to pump the water up to your pressure tank, so on and so forth. Everything that we do is geared towards that. So there's a necessity. People want more, they want bigger, they want better, and things along those lines. You have to look at what fulfills you personally, and then set the necessary steps in place to go ahead and achieve those goals. But Nick is spot on. It's about really understanding your why, do what makes you happy, step back. And, most business owners that I've met in industries of every single kind most of them love what they do. They've gotten into owning that store, that restaurant, because of something that pleases and blesses them. I have experienced, however, in the real estate industry, a lot of people getting into real estate that weren't originally expecting to be there. There has been big shifts in employment in 2020. People are using it as a backfall or a part-time, as an extra resource. And regardless of the reason why you're in the real estate industry, you have to be responsible for yourself, your business, and the people that depend on you. So even if it hurts, you got to keep charging hard forward, stand on the throttle, and find the knowledge. I always mess around with my kids. I'm like, you guys have it so easy. I had to go to the library and look through index cards in order to find a book that some dude went ahead and wrote over 30 years, and I had to knock the dust off it. And back then, we were only as good as what we consumed. And we didn't have all of these different educational resources, elements, and people like us being able to tap right into your smartphones that you're watching us on right now, or your tablets or your desktops, or if you're listening to us in the car. These things weren't even available. So now Gino and Nick and Greg and I have the opportunity to go through every single day, and we get here onto the marketing roundtable. We share experiences about what's working well, and don't do that. It doesn't. Don't do that. Or things are changing so fast. So, anyways, that's from my desk to yours, Greg McDaniel.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good takeaways. And what I want to do is we round this show out. I'm going to go to each one of you guys. I want you guys to give one simple, free tactic and takeaway that people can put into their business today if they want to do it. Nick, I'm going to start with you. They're going to go to Jake. They're going to go to Gene. So, Nick, take it away.
Do what makes you happy, but document it.
How?
Right? So one of the things we all probably follow Gary Vee, the guy's been around for years talking about the same thing, and the same thing that he says now or back then, it still holds true now, which is it's almost like, and old trainers used to say this: if you don't have it on your calendar, it doesn't exist. You've probably heard that term before, right? Yep. Now, if you don't have it on video on social media, it didn't exist or it doesn't exist. So I absolutely urge everybody. My best and biggest tip that I can give you for doing more video is to just record yourself on video every single day until you're comfortable enough where your heart isn't palpitating, where you don't have dry mouth, and then you can start actually producing more video. So just record yourself on your phone doing normal stuff, knowing that it's not going to be posted anywhere. You're not going to put it on Facebook or Instagram or anything. Get comfortable in front of the camera, because I can tell you right now, branding, and we're all lead generation guys, but branding is more important now than ever. And part of branding is just getting your message and allowing people to have a relationship with you. And doing that through documenting your journey is a super powerful thing.
Yeah. I love that, man. That is such a powerful thing. And guys, I want you to reach out to Nick Sackis. If you guys are listening, his last name is spelled Sakkis. Reach out to him. He's got some amazing tips and tricks on kind of what he's doing. Some good microphones, and he'll help you get more branded and visible. Jake, what's your takeaway and your tactic?
My tactic is, so I'm a relentless marketer, so much so that I've put my competitors out of business in multiple different industries.
That's actually a true story, by the way.
So if you're going to step up to the game, you're going to have to take that kind of live action in order to go ahead and charge hard if you're going to go ahead and set goals at a high level. Okay, so I actually hacked Tom Ferry the other day, and he didn't even know it. I took one of his highest videos on YouTube. I took one of his highest videos on YouTube, and I hacked all of his channel tags and video tags, and I put a bunk video in there, and I went ahead and put that sucker right over the top of his for over a week and a half. I'm like, oh look, that works. I was just telling Tom hi. So hi, Tom Ferry, if you're listening to this. So love the purple suit. Anyways, guys, charge hard into 2021. Take live action. Stand on the throttle. You can do this. If you need a little bit of help, let me know.
Guys, Jake Wolfe the last name is spelled Wolfe, and then Clever Leads is Clever with a K, Kleve. Nope. My dyslexic fucking ass.
Nope.
Fuck.
Nope.
Don't worry about it,
Leads.com. Fuck me. All right, Gene, what's your takeaway tactic?
You're the best. Here's my takeaway is going to be very, very sappy. I think you need to. I like what both of these guys just said. They're always complete channels of wisdom, right? I think it's important sometimes to be able to look back fondly on your victories, even if they're small, and also keep something ahead of you that you're looking forward to at all times. So let me explain the first one real quick. Mm-hmm. It's okay to sit in your bed for 10 minutes right before you go to sleep and think about all the things that made you smile during the day. Like if you do that on a regular basis, you just be happier the next morning. It's just the way it works. Mm-hmm. So take those little wins. Maybe your kids got out of school a little bit earlier and you had lunch with them, or all these goofy little things, whatever they are. It doesn't have to be about I made $80,000 today. It doesn't have to be that stuff. Maybe like in Nick's case, I know with that whole 120-pound thing, there were days where you were up a pound, right? Like, and then there was another day where you were down 2. And in the grand scheme of things, 2 is not a lot. But when you look at it in those little friggin' nuggets, that's a huge deal. That's how you can't get to 120 without 2, right? Yeah. So I'm sure that there were times where you sat back and thought, you know what, dude, it's okay to be proud of myself for the work that I put in today. Whether it was a pound up or 4 pounds down, I still did what I was supposed to do, and it all worked out. And I just use that as an example because it's right here in my face. The other piece of it is that I talk to my wife about this all the time. Part of my optimism during the week and part of my drive during the week is something that I'm looking forward to down the road. So sometimes for me, it's just an Eagles game. I love football. I love to gamble on it. I love the family atmosphere when we're watching it. I love fantasy football. So sometimes on a Monday when I don't feel like doing shit, I'll just sit here and think about, you know what? I got to get to Sunday because I'm excited about Sunday. It might be something that dumb. It might be a big family trip that's coming up in 2 months. But I find that I work better, more efficiently, and with a bigger smile when I have something at the end of that I know that I'm going to tackle that's going to be fun that I'm looking forward to. And it could be something with the kids, dinner with the in-laws, like something along those lines. But the gratitude looking behind and the things coming up, I think that you can, basically mark out. Just, it has to be 2 days away, 4 days away, 6 days away. Maybe it's that huge trip after COVID's gone and you're going to Italy in September, whatever it is. Just keep that in the front of your mind, and I think it'll help you achieve that a little easier.
I love it. You know what? What do I do? I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you for asking.
I love it. My favorite part of the whole show.
Hi, Greg McDaniel.
Hi, Jake Wolf. For me, and I think that what Nick, Jake, and Gene have all said are very, very valid. What I do for my own personal self is that I commit myself to doing one thing a day. And that could be having a powerful conversation about EXP. It can be, closing a deal, getting a listing, working with a seller, with a buyer, whatever it's going to be. But I commit to doing one single thing a day. And then at that point, I give myself the opportunity and the reason to say, okay, I'm done for the day. I can go do whatever I want. Here's the power behind that. Is because you can put a lot of effort in. And this is for me personally speaking. It doesn't have to be for you guys. And if you guys don't like this, that's great. Fuck off and die. But I still love you. But I have decided that for me, if I do one thing a day powerfully, then I'm good. Then I can go have a cocktail. I can go for a swim, go for a run. I can, work on my goals. I can do whatever I want for the rest of the day. Maybe go shopping, for dinner for my girlfriend to surprise her with something that's going to be horrible and I might kill her with my cooking. But you know what? At least I'm trying to do something, right? So my goal is to do one thing powerfully a day. And I have seen tremendous results with that effort. I get more listings, I can work with more buyers, and I get more recruits with EXP than I can ever imagine by doing that one thing. And Gary Keller wrote that book called The One Thing. So figure out what your one thing is. Follow Gene's advice, follow Jake's advice, follow Nick's advice, and go out there and live the best possible version of yourselves. So on that, Nick, where can everybody reach out to you for a referral or working with you or weight loss advice or just one hell of a good dude if they want to talk to you?
I'll go back to what Jake said. Just type my name in Google, Nick Sackis, Sakkis. You find me. Find me on Facebook. I'm looking for more friends. I don't have anything to sell. But yeah, that's it.
All right, Jake, where can they find you when they actually sell your website and company name correctly?
That's okay, Greg. I'll find them.
You guys fucking suck. I'm trying to help you.
That was epic. What do you mean that sucked? That was awesome.
I know. You guys drive me up the wall. I love you to pieces. Okay, so Jake's gonna hunt you. Nick's gonna hug you. Gene, what are you gonna do? How can they reach out to you?
Do the same thing that Nick said. Google my name. I'd ask for that you ignore Google search result number 7 and 11. Those FBI felonies were my cousin Gene Volpe. They're not mine. Check me out on Google. You'll probably find me there.
Oh my God.
Greg, where can they find you, buddy?
Gene, so glad you asked me. And I'm so glad that the 3 marketers on the fucking show are not doing very good marketing. You guys can reach out to me. My phone number, 925-915-1978, like the year. If you guys want to talk about EXP, Jake and I and Gene are building something that's absolutely tremendously huge, something that nobody's doing anywhere in the country. When you join our team, you can have a part of it. If you guys want to do a free coaching call, you can do the same call. I'd be happy to reach out and have a call with you guys and really kind of bring value to your lives. But it's really that simple. But before we do the complete wrap of the show, Gene, yes.
I was going to say, this thing that you and Jake are doing, it's exciting. Will you tell me after the show? Because I can't wait to hear this.
I will tell you everything after the show, and everybody who's listening can get a hold of me, and I'll tell you everything after.
Maybe I'll have something to do next week. This sounds good.
This sounds fun. All right, Gene, do your damn job. Jake and Nick. Actually, Nick, you're our third co-host now. So all of you guys, this can be a rainbow of a bow here. So we got to put a color on the bow. So Gene, start off. Go to Jake and go to Nick.
I like the purple that's behind Nick on his soundboard wall. Let's go with that purple.
Okay. Purple. Jake, what's your color?
I'm rocking a Sunny D orange today, Gregors.
Sunny D orange. So we have purple and Sunny D orange. Nick, what is your color?
I'll go green,
Like behind you?
like behind me.
That's an ugly ass bow tie, man. No kidding.
No, man. You look good then, Nick. Don't you know? I mean, Jake and Gene,
No,
you
no.
all look good in that. All of us
I
wearing
meant those
different
three
colors.
colors.
Okay, so all right, guys. Hey, look, all the joking around. We love you to pieces. Thank you so much for being with us for 2020. We could not do this show without you. It's because of you and your sharing and your likes and your comments and everything else. It means the world to all of us. I know that Matt is here on my heart. Just because he couldn't be here on the show, which he never wants to be. But you know what? We love you to pieces. This is a purple, orange,
Sunny D orange.
Sunny D orange, and green bow tie on this show. Guys, we love you to pieces. Go to everywhere that you guys listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review. If you like any or all of us, please mention us. Help the algorithm get us out in front of more people. Guys, have a blessed, powerful rest of 2020. We will be back here for 2021. But until then, peace out, ninjas. We love you. We're gone.